Okay, so now our main buildings over here are done. So now let's just go ahead and move along with like the further back versions. And I'm going to get started by simply grabbing, here, let's grab these two cars along with our ground. And let's see, something like this, right? Yeah, that looks about fine. Maybe one more. There we go. Okay, so we are now going to get started by working on like some of the more back buildings. Now there isn't really a reference. The only reference I had was that this looks slightly like a tilted corner, and that was everything I had. So based upon that, I just kind of like made everything. So now that we have our cars over here, these buildings are not going to be very long. It's probably going to be like a curb like this. So let's grab curb number 02, select children, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Let's move it nicely over here. Yeah, that looks correct. And let's add a new folder, curb_04. And throw this in here. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't think I need anything else. And then at this point there will be just like a long street. So you can literally just start duplicating this, and this one would now go across the corner, and there will be like another pavement sitting along here. But this is basically just to close off our environment. So it doesn't need to be very special. It will just be here to close off the environment. So if we have these pieces over here, what I wanted to do is I wanted to also have another curb already placed on the opposite side. So let me just quickly move this. Let's just go ahead and quickly duplicate my cars and place them over here so that I know where to place my curb. And now I can just right away immediately just go and select curb 4, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, move to a new folder, curb_05. And then we can just go ahead and we can just press rotate. Snap rotate this 180 degrees. Move this along the same line. And then we can just nicely also move this over here, at which point I can just try and get it correct. No, one more. I know it's not very scientific how I measure this out, but it just has to be. I'm just trying to look over here at this line. It's really difficult to see. Probably when you're recording it's even more difficult to see, but there is a grid line there. Like I can see it just a little bit. Anyway, we have this one done. Awesome. So now at this point, the last one would become, if we duplicate these cars over here, this will be the last road. So what we can do is we can go ahead and rotate these. Move them over here, and that looks correct. Awesome. So all I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to grab one of our flat pavement pieces. Move those at like the very end over here. And now at this point, just to make things a bit faster, I'm going to set my snapping to 100. So that I can just very quickly snap this all along this road. And that will be the closure. Like this is where the road will be closed off. And of course the reason we do that is because else we would need to make our environment even bigger if we can just keep going and going with our street to the point that you can no longer see it. So you often want to just block it off using things like buildings and changing the roads and stuff like that, or blocking it off with foliage if you have that kind of an environment. But yeah, in general, there we go. Awesome. So that is going to be our layout, and then over here we will just spend a little bit more time just in case our camera goes far enough back, but I want to first focus on these two buildings over here. So let's have a look, shall we? This one is going to have an angled corner. I already know about that. I'm going to just select my pieces over here, set this back to 10. There we go, and just move that in. And now if we go into the Emil Sliegers folder and go into our buildings, we can grab this one over here. ground floor. There we go. Okay, so we have something like this, and you can kind of decide if you want to go for like a short pavement, then you can place it here, or if you want to go for like a more wider pavement. I feel like that's, for this one, yeah, we can go a bit wider. When we do wider, it's also nice because let's say that later on I want to have like a bus stop. Having a bus stop on like a short pavement is really annoying because there just isn't enough space. So over here, yeah, this one is a short pavement, that's fine. So also in terms of variation, wide, short. If we make this one wide again, actually, let's have a look. Let's go into my camera actor. I probably want to have it somewhere along here so that the building stands out a little bit, like it's sticking out a bit, and once again, this will help with our silhouette. So if it is roughly around this point, yeah, okay, so that would actually be short on one hand, but we can make it a little bit wide on the other, but I don't know if that makes sense. Now I'm gonna leave it like this. Let's leave it short. So we now have defined roughly what we want. We can then duplicate this. We can go ahead and go to our ground floor window over here. Well, that's not very logical. Why is there a block over here? So the strange thing about this is that I have a piece. Oh, now it works. That's strange. Like I can remember dragging on this piece and it didn't work. So yeah, there is a piece that has like the closed off version over here. Very strange that did not, or I must have missed. I must have not dragged it on correctly. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we have this piece, and what we're going to do is we are going to duplicate it 90 degrees and go in here. Now this one might be a bit tricky or not, we'll see. Oh no, not tricky. I was expecting that I would need to snap the vertices, but looks like that this one does nicely transition. And then of course for this piece what we can do is we can go ahead and go for like a door version. And then let's say that we duplicate it again. Now I have this another window version over here, and it's basically just like a large window. If you want, you can use it. So we got this one, and then at this point what I will do is I will just go ahead and once again give it like a angled corner. We probably want to go for 90 degrees. Let's have a look over here. Oh, looks like that I do need to actually change it to this window because else it will not work. So 90 degrees over here, that's fine. And then over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a long pavement. At this point I don't really care too much because we will never get there. Like you can nicely solve it using the techniques that I showed you, but it is not the most important thing right now. And then we can just go ahead and we can now maybe like change the window over here. One last one. There we go. So that one is now done. I can go up here and just clean up my pavement at least a little bit to make it look a bit nicer. Set this snapping to 1. There we go. And for the rest, I guess what we can do is we can just do like a duplicate for now. And just quickly push this in here. There we go. Just something simple. It does not really matter. I just want to get something here. And then of course you will never be able to see it. But you can definitely scale this down if you want to add a little bit more polish to this. Now we will most likely actually do another polishing phase a little bit later on, where I might fix some of these things. But right now, the thing is that you don't want to get focused on the small details. We are still working on like the big details. So later on I can always go back in, do some tweaking, do some polishing, making everything look a little bit neater, and I will most likely do that. It might be a time lapse, but I don't know yet. It kind of depends on how much polish I feel like we need, because I don't want to bother you guys too much with that. But for now, let's just focus on like the bigger picture. That's what I like to call it, the bigger picture. So we have this one. And then I will do, for example, like one of those windows again, just to break up the repetition, like that. Okay, awesome. So we got that one also done. Now the next one, I actually want to probably use this building, And I want to probably just place it over here, and that's going to be like the last one. So this is... Oh wait, this building does not have a folder yet. First of all, grab curve 5 and just drag it into your tutorial scene over here. I can already select my vehicles and just add like a folder called cars. Here we go. Okay, let's have a look. So we have our floor by this point. If you want, you can delete it. I think I will keep it just because we have like this, like we can still see it. But what I will then do is I will most likely just like move it here, scale it out a little bit. There we go, to cover everything. Now, ground floor pieces. So these pieces are completely new. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select all of them manually. There we go. And new folder. Building underscore 0. I'm going to call this 05 because I want to have this one to be building 04 over here. So what I can do is I can select all of these. And if you are not sure if you have everything selected, just wiggle it around and then you know. So this one is going to be building underscore 04. Here we go. And then we have our road, which is our tarmac pieces. Awesome, so that is now nice and organized. So we got these buildings done. That's looking cool. I'm going to grab building 04, select immediate children, and we are just going to reuse part of this. So we are going to have this one, and I'm going to rotate it 180. And you probably guessed that we want to like delete this version. Sorry, there was a little whistle in my voice. And now again, for some reason I'm starting to whistle. Anyway, let's go ahead and now grab this one here. I will grab a door over here, but yeah, we probably want to polish that also a little bit. Let's also do a door here, for example. Stuff like that. Maybe another door here. I think that will look nice. But anyway, so we have, let's say 2 window pieces. Yeah, I think 2 is enough. And now what we can do is we can just simply select these pieces over here and place them into their own folder. Should have done that earlier, but I kind of forgot. So let's go ahead and call this building underscore 06. Here we go. And we can grab the building, select immediate children. And let's nicely move this here. And this one we will just make again like a short pavement. Although maybe a little bit longer. We have the space, so we can make it like a little bit of a wider pavement. Let's have a look in my camera actor. If I want to go for... Yeah, I want to place this one a little bit forward. So what I will do is I will have a short pavement at the front. Something like this. And then wide pavements at the sides. Let's just try and make it a little bit more even. Because of course you also need to kind of make your pavements based upon the buildings. Since the buildings are a lot harder to scale. And now I can go in here and I can select this stuff. Let's move this forward, okay. Let's do the same over here, even though we can probably not see it. There we go. And now at this point we can just leave it. Awesome, so we got that one done. Let's do 2 doors on this side. Why not? Yeah, that works. That works for me. Let's go ahead and save our scene. And have a look. So we got this building done. This building, this building. We got like these extra roads in here. We have another road that just transitions all the way along over here. That's great. It is starting to look pretty nice. Now, if you are making your own scene, it might take you a bit longer to do this kind of stuff. Because, of course, I already went through all the prototyping and making sure that everything works. So just keep that in mind. Like, it will probably not go this fast. Now, having this, at this point, you probably won't be able to actually see the ground anymore. So you can kind of choose what you want to do. If you just want to have, like, a white plane or maybe make it like a dark plane later on. I will, for now, make it, as you can see over here, just like a white plane. And then I'm going to just create a few buildings. So we will have like a building here, and then I want to have one more building over here in the very back. And at that point, I do not yet want to create the background buildings because I first of all need to know the heights of my buildings. So once we get to that point, we will take a little break from placing our buildings and just place some road decals and stuff like that, just for fun. And after that, we will go over on placing our buildings. Now, I'm going to I'm going to steal, let's just call it stealing, this version over here. Let's go ahead and duplicate that. That's it. At this point, I'm not going to bother too much because it is so far away from the camera. It will also be quite dark in general. So what I want to do is I just want to make sure that over here that it is sitting roughly halfway down my road or something. I just want to have it sticking out a little bit. And then it becomes like a nice high building. And that should look pretty good. So we got this one over here. Do I need to do anything? Let's give it like an actual corner. Just to nicely close this off. And once again, I'm not going to even create whatever is behind here. It's a bit of cheating, but it will save us a lot of time. Let's go ahead and rotate this one 90. And now just set my snapping to 1. Here we go. So let's snap that here and here. This one's being a bit more annoying. This is probably like the most difficult one. Oh no, there we go, it does work. So, because of course you cannot snap to vertices, because the vertex is over here. It's not sitting on that side, and that's what makes this sometimes a little bit annoying. But that's looking pretty good. Like, we got that one done. So we now pretty much just have the blueprint of our map, as you can see over here. So that's great. Now what I want to do is just to close this chapter off. Let's go ahead nice and relaxed and start working on some decals. As you can see over here, your icon for your decals is down below the ground. This is simply because we have moved this down over here. That's literally the only reason. So what I'm going to do is I just want to create like some nice center decals. So let's go in here and let's just duplicate this. Let's set this snapping to like 10. And these should all snap together. And then what you want to do is at this point you will most likely have cars that are going to start turning and everything. So if we go to our solid line, we probably want to switch to a dotted line, because the dotted line means that you are allowed to actually turn. Now, I'm not going to go perfect with my road instructions and stuff like that. I just want to make it somewhat work so that the cars can turn and that it looks a little bit logical. But to be honest, between you and me, it's just about some visual interest. Like, if this is a video game, I would spend a lot more time making sure that I follow the actual road rules. But in this specific instance, because we have a limited amount of decals, we cannot always do that. Like, normally I would place like arrow keys, for example, and stuff like that. But unfortunately, just like arrow, decals. But unfortunately, we cannot do that right now. Now, what I'm going to do over here is I'm actually going to give it like a bit of space. Let's make this last one a dotted line. And then this one also a dotted line. Over here. There we go. So, I'm just trying to make it work with my environment to get something looking good quite quickly. Even when it does not match perfectly. So instead of like making an entire new decal that's like half a line and needing to place all that kind of stuff, we basically do this. So at this point we can go for like a dotted line, and I'm just going to stop it here. So that's just like one simple line already ready to go. Now if I go ahead and duplicate this one, this road is probably too small to have center lines. So what I would want to do is, that road is also too small. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and select just like a couple of these. Rotate these 90 degrees. and use these cars to once again like find the center of your road. And let's just place them like this. There we go. You can probably never even see this, but just in case we have like a view or like a camera view that is like quite at a high angle, it is nice to just make sure that we do have, that we can see it like a little bit. If we have a view like this, you can just see the lines over here. So that's something that I do try to keep in mind. I can see a... Oh no, wait, that's my grid. Sorry, I was a bit confused. I thought I saw like a hole inside of my mesh, but that was not the case. So let's go ahead and duplicate this over here. Let's duplicate this again. And again. And, well, if you want, you can just turn it to like a dotted line. But this is pretty much it. We got now like the basics over here. That's pretty good. Now one thing that is quite important that we're going to do is we have this zebra crossing over here. And these ones are going to define roughly where we want to have also our pavement roads. So if I have a pavement piece here, I can change this to a pavement ramp. And the ramp version basically just moves down so that you can nicely cross the road. So you can guess that we want to have our zebra, whatever you want to call it, paths here. Let's move it down a bit. And these ones will nicely be here for like the transitioning. So if we just do one here and one roughly over here, we can then go in here and change this to a ramp. See? And then we have like this nice crossing, which on our view, it will just look a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to probably place my view a little bit closer then later on. But that's something to figure out later, how we do like our camera and stuff like that. That's all way later when we actually have some proper composition. Now what I can do is I can grab these two. I'm going to have another one on this side of the street. And you can just want to swap this one out and this one out. And this is why it's also good to keep everything nice and even in terms of like your pavements and your curbs. Oh, sorry, I swapped it out. There we go. Now that works. And yeah, it's a bit annoying that I do need to go under the map in order to see this, but that's totally fine. So we got this one done. Now let's do another one. I feel like doing another one only here and just leaving that one open, because else it would be a bit too crowded. So let's do one more here, and then we can do like two on these sides. So let's have a ramp here and a ramp over here. Oh yeah, nice. Our zebra crossing is already in the correct location. And now we can just go ahead and select this again, duplicate it, but this time it's just going to be like quick and messy. Just kind of like place it roughly here. Because I don't know if you will be able to see this, but we'll see. And one over here. Let's see if we have a ramp here and a ramp here. And yeah, we can of course nicely polish this just a bit later. But for now, it's just going to be easy placements. A nice one. This one are where they made the ramp on the right location. And here you can see that we have like that, just like a little bit of like an offset, which is a little bit awkward. And you can try to just select this entire row here and then move it a little bit if you want to compensate for that. There we go. A little bit back actually. There we go. Okay, awesome. So we got those parts also done. Now I want to have one more part. So let's duplicate this. I want to have it roughly over here. And I do notice that I can already see that compared to, for example, my test environment, that I made the roads a little bit thinner. That's no problem. It's just something that we went for. I'm not here to make exactly the same environment and make it perfectly like aligned and everything. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make a cool looking environment. So it's no problem that the environment changes a little bit the second time around. As long as it still looks decently cool. And of course the most important thing, that you guys all learn on how to do this stuff. So you just in general learn from it. So we can go over here, change these also to ramps. There we go. Let's also duplicate this one here. Nice, okay. So we got some pieces here. I'm not sure yet if I maybe want to like scale these up a little bit. You probably won't notice, but it will look a little bit nicer if they are a bit closer to the road. So you can just use your scale tool. So you just select and then E to scale. There we go. We just scale them up like a little bit. Okay, awesome. So those are basically our road markings. Now I have a bunch more decals over here, but we will go over that a little while later. What we will be doing in the next chapter is we will slowly start building up our buildings, and then you can quickly start seeing these environments come together. So let's go ahead and continue with this in our next chapter.